G-R-E-E-N, Green, G-R-E-E-N. I am here to speak about Normal West football, and I apologize in advance if I start crying because I am pretty emotional. So tonight I'm here to share my thoughts on Darrell Hess, who is a role model, father figure, life advisor, and just so happens to be a football coach as well. I mentioned being a football coach last because this program is so much more than football and has thrived in that respect under Coach Hess. Every Thursday night at the team meals during football season, I saw firsthand the influence Coach Hess has on the players. Each and every player always said yes please or no thank you when asked questions about what they wanted on their plates. It was always a pleasure seeing those boys give me a smile and or a hug, thanking us for being there. I can promise you every player on the team didn't learn that level of respect or manners at home, but through being a part of the team. I also greatly respect he realized it takes a village to provide the influence the kids need, and look forward to the motivational speaker each week there to talk to the boys about the tough things in life and how to rise above and walk the high road. I personally experienced the influence Coach Hess and his staff have over these young men during their formidable years. My son was communicating with the coach over a hard decision he was having to make, ironically whether to keep playing football or focus on chess. Because the conversation was a hard one to have, my son chose to send an email to the coach instead of having a face-to-face conversation. That Friday night after the game, the coach searched my son out and shared with him he appreciated the email, then proceeded to have a conversation with him that sometimes in life conversations are hard, but much more impactful if you have them face-to-face. As a single mom, I can't tell you how important that is to me and how much I appreciate the coaches for instilling those values in our players. Since I mentioned Darrell Hess was a football coach, I would be remiss if I focused only on the life lessons and said nothing about football. A couple of things about this season stand out in my mind. The first thing occurred to me when one of the star players of the team went down to injury. Coach Hess understood how many of his teammates looked at this player as the heart and soul of the team and how important it was to keep this young man engaged as much as possible. I watched throughout the season as Coach Hess and this young man stood side by side, providing motivation to the team. The other thing, and most importantly in my mind, was the respect the other teams had for sportsmanship displayed by our team. I can't share with you how much pride I had and still have in our boys, many of them who are here tonight, after their loss in the playoffs, when family members, coaches, and members of the community of the team that we lost to reached out to our Facebook page to comment on how impressed they were with our boys in the program and the sportsmanship they showed. This is a great example of our coaches instilling in the boys what they are doing is bigger than football. I've spent countless hours alongside many of you on Unit 5 initiatives or other organizations, and I know that you, like myself, do what you do for the kids, as those kids are our future. Based on that, I implore you to take a step back and look at the legacy Darrell Hess has created at Normal West and the impact he and his staff have on the lives of the young men. The Gridiron Club would greatly appreciate the opportunity to partner with you and have a voice in the selection of the next football coach at Normal West. I don't know what the future holds and if Coach Hess is a part of it, but please remember this program is bigger than football and help us keep that legacy alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Our next speaker is Natalie, is it Hart or Mart? Hart? Okay.
I'm Natalie Hart, and it's N-A-T-A-L-I-E, last name H-A-R-D-T. And I'm here to talk about the Coach Hess impact as well. I'm here tonight to share examples on the positive influence Coach Hess and his coaching staff have had on more than 1,000 young players over their time. There's not enough time in your day for me to repeat the numerous stories that parents have shared with me, or the stories that I know firsthand as a parent of a junior, my dedication to the gridiron for 3 years, and my observations for the many years prior as a fan in the stands at Normal West football games before my son even stepped foot in Normal West. I tell you this only to establish credibility. You heard Amy provide insight to Coach Hess's character and the positive, inclusive culture that he has developed. Examples of actions is what demonstrates to me what Coach Hess means to this program. It is his assistant coach that gives an awesome talk to the freshmen about being a man of integrity, and that's what makes them good men. It's the rides when a player's parents are not there to pick them up. It's bringing in the motivational speakers to provide these young players a plan to keep their head in the game. And by game, I mean life. It's bringing in the spiritual advisor for those who are curious about that aspect of their life. It's supporting the gridiron in our efforts to provide team meals, as for some, this was their only good meal all week. To provide snacks and breakfast to those athletes that they might have fuel for their bodies before a game. To provide equipment for the safety of all players. It's the dedication of a large number of coaches with the same ideas and same common goals, all giving up time with their own precious families so that our players have the best high school experience on and off the field as possible. It's being the family representative for some on senior night so that those players don't have to walk alone. It's being a mentor in the classroom, encouraging the players to put school first. It's the dedication to these players that does not just begin in August and end in November. It's the extra work to build leaders to ensure there are players in place that can serve as great mentors and provide encouragement and guidance to their peers. Sometimes it's driving a player to a college visit, because without this, they might not be physically able to get there. Sometimes bringing in coaches to the school for those players that don't have the resources or family support to visit them. It's about knowing players well enough to detect those who are going through something difficult, approaching them, and lending a much-needed ear. It's also about treating these players with great respect. It's all about encouraging these players to make relationships with each other and becoming brothers. These are just a few of the actions that Coach Hess and his staff have taken to build a program of trust, integrity, and strong character, which ensures that all players and coaches are the best versions of themselves that they can be. This past season, as I understand it, this team tied for the best record in school history and tied the school record for the number of playoff games played in a season, not to mention 8 straight playoff appearances. All these people sitting here and others that could not be here tonight implore you to not let Coach Hess's legacy die and to make sure that every coach is given the opportunity to remain with this program and continue his work. The players have been impacted negatively. Please don't let them down again.
Sorry, the next speaker is Darrell Batley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Darrell Batley, D-A-R-R-E-L-L, last name B-A-T-L-E-Y. I also am a parent of a Normal West football player. I moved to Normal 3 years ago, knowing no one in the community, knowing no one in the program. I have watched my son be a part of something bigger than a sport. I know from experience what a coach means to the players. And if you look at the group to my right, you see a group of outstanding diversity and dedication. More kids than parents are here. That says something to the program. The program is dedicated to making young men better, stronger of character, and of good moral standing. There is no question that comes from the head coach of the program. In November, we were looking forward to the next year with Coach Hess. In December, 2 coaches resigned within 2 days, which strikes we in the public as very strange. 2 very successful programs, 2 very respected coaches. Then as we examine board minutes, we see that closed-door meetings were given to individuals who had public spectacles made at football games that were very questionable as far as their judgment and respect towards the program or the individuals. We're now very confused because we know no information whatsoever why our coaches resigned. We're asking what is happening. Why is such a respectable man not being asked to continue in the program? We're at a loss at the moment, and we would like more information from the school as to what the future of Normal West holds, and we do not want to let the program deteriorate. We want to continue to encourage and nurture young men to become outstanding men men of direction, men of leadership. That is what we all need for the future. This is the future of our country. We need to instill in them the desire to do better, to be better. And that is what we are receiving from our football program. We want to make sure that that is understood and that Coach Hess is, a resignation has been tendered, but it does not necessarily need to be received or accepted. We want to make sure that that is the best decision for the school district. Thank you.
Next speaker is Jeff Lord.
Jeff Lord, J-E-F-F-L-O-R-D. Good evening. I too have been treasurer of the Gridiron Club since 2012 and here to talk about Normal West football. Been involved in many fundraisers. Some of you have probably been to a trivia night or whatever. I've had 4 kids go through Normal West, two sons, 2 daughters. Both sons played football. Now, it seems like deja vu. Back in 2015, Superintendent Daniel made a very strange decision. Thank God there are some very fine people on the school board who at that time exercised good judgment to reverse it. Then comes along this year. I received an email on a Saturday morning from the athletic director Stan Lewis and principal Dave Johnson about payments and questioning payments of how the Gridiron Club has given payments to coaches. Okay, I thought that was very strange for an 8:09 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday. I responded, we have never, I don't know if you know what that word means, but never paid a coach directly. All payments have always gone through the school system, has been given to Sherry Shelley, the accounting clerk of the school, and gone through the pay system. I worked for U.S. Treasury. When I became treasurer, I made sure that we would never be in violation of IRS regulations. I had many calls with IRS because I didn't want to be in any place where I had to issue 1099s or getting tax evasion. Then we sat down with Stan Lewis. We first hammered out our agreement with Unit 5 and the scoreboard of how we get our revenue. That is with that agreement, plus at the same time of how to pay. You know, Coach Hess wanted to give some stipend to certain assistant coaches that are not part of the regular program. We hammered that agreement out. I can tell you exactly who was there. We even was in the ag room at Normal West, hammered that out. We have followed that to a T. Every check to Normal West High School gone through the payroll system. Now, Stan Lewis and Dave Johnson authorized people by the school board to run the athletic program and the affairs of the high school at Normal West. Everything has been done through them. I called the day after I gave them the information. I was told all transactions were appropriate. I have all the documentation and I have the emails. Everything is all fine. I was told that. Then come December 15th, I was in meetings most of the day, and when I got done at 3:30, my phone was going berserk about, have you heard what's going on with Coach Hess? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Here we go again. And I've sent several emails, and I mind you that several have responded and several have not. You know, what is a school? It's the parents, the students, the teachers, the administrators. We're all on the same page, all on the same team. Everything we do is all parents generated. To think that this is outside of the school, I think is nuts. All right? Those revenues are generated by parents of students with the school and parents of the football team. Everything has been above board. No payments are under the table. No payments are outside the school system. So I don't know where you're coming up with how that happens. Now, I know there seems to be somewhat of investigation. I don't know, but who conducted the investigation? Was there an outside firm? The person doing the investigation? How do you make these interpretations? Was it one person being judge and jury? Did they consult with anybody? Have you ever done a third party? I don't know. But something is not right. And I have made sure, because I'm not going to be involved in anything that is outside of IRS regulations. And we made very sure of how all checks from the Gridiron Club, dual signatures, proper internal controls. Now, apparently, if some administrators have some concerns, you know, it's up to the school board. Do you have the proper policies, procedures, and internal controls in place to know what's going on? We were following the authorized person from the school board to conduct the athletic activities of the high school, Stan Lewis. So, there we go.
Thank you, Mr. Lord. The next speaker is Jimmy Camp.
My name is Jimmy Camp, J-I-M-M-Y-C-A-M-P. I'm here to talk about Normal West football, and I am the parent of a player on this team. In light of the events and turmoil that have overtaken the Normal West football program, I am among many who want and deserve answers for what's transpired. It is my hope these questions will be answered as we go forward and this entire situation is never revisited. This has been beyond ridiculous, to say the least. Apparently, there are recorded audio of previous meetings that took place behind closed doors. I think the public deserves and would like to hear that audio at some point. But now as we go forward, we are apparently in the market for a new coach. I feel that search should end with the hiring of a member of the current staff for that position. Stability right now is very critical. Returning players and future players deserve to have someone they're familiar with, someone who is the face of the franchise and can continue to uphold the integrity and dignity Coach Hess displayed in his time at the helm of the program. Also, student athletes that are considering playing beyond high school. It becomes very important for a high school coach to have a relationship with a college coach to help that student athlete. As a parent of a college athlete, I can tell you the college coaches often look to the advice or opinion of a high school coach during the recruiting process. I have personally sat through many of these recruiting visits on college campuses, and it's constantly brought up by the college coaches. They are familiar with the student athlete because of a relationship with that coach. In my opinion, this episode may have disrupted that relationship between prospective colleges and the Normal West football program. I hope that relationship isn't compromised and can continue for our student athletes going forward, and not just in football. Problems like this seem to have a trickle-down effect, and bad press could potentially affect other programs within the district and student athletes. As a parent of the player on the Normal West football team, I'm demanding a sense of order be restored to this program in the immediate future. I no longer want to read about this program in social media and in news sites being portrayed in a negative light. It's disgraceful and embarrassing. Finally, as we go forward and if a new head coach position is truly being sought, I'm not asking, I'm demanding that Nathan Fincham be hired as that head coach and continue the values, integrity, in winning ways that Coach Hess laid the groundwork for. Thank you.